All right, Coach, we're live.
All right, all right. First, I want to say that once again, every single week you've been making great strides, like with classroom management, and I can tell you've really been taking in like the feedback that I've been giving you very well. A few notes that I had just on classroom management above all. You're really setting the expectations early now.
Hmm.
I even saw like from jump, even from the warm up, you used multiple students to show exactly what you wanted during the safety of the warm up. You've been using student examples, letting them know exactly what you're looking for with your assessments, and I just thought that was awesome because you're definitely making strides with classroom management. Um, I saw that you directed students how to hold the ball when waiting for instruction. Again, I see that that's making a stride forward. What grade level was this last? Was this
That was
last
third
video?
grade.
That was third. I knew they were a little bit bigger, so I figured that was third. I made that on my notes. That was a good guess. Okay, third. Um, Using music as a signal to begin, to continue rolling, and to stop rolling was awesome. And I also love the progression that you did. Sitting and rolling, and then standing and rolling, and then adding the pin to it was awesome. So that was good. So it actually shows how the skill relates to an actual sport that you can do and that
Hmm.
they can do in everyday life. So that was awesome. Let me click on my notes really quick for standard six. As you know, standard six was a lot about assessment.
Right.
And even though you warmed up in the beginning, the warm up was great just to get their bodies ready for the assessment. Um, there were a couple sections, one, two, three, four, five sections. One was for formative and summative assessments. The second was alignment of assessments with objectives. Third was feedback, effective use of assessments, and accommodations in assessments. As always, we have to kind of tweak these requirements for physical education, which can kind of be difficult. But it was really easy with your lesson because you got straight to the point of what you were assessing and the actual physical assessment they were doing, which was the skill of rolling.
Hmm.
Um, for formative and summative assessments, a four would be an outstanding would be candidate effectively balances the use of formative and summative assessment as appropriate to support, verify, and document learning. I gave you a three instead of a four.
Okay.
The only reason I didn't give you a four is because on the four it says to document learning. And when it means document, there wasn't necessarily like a sheet that you had or like a checklist that I could see that either the students were using or you were using to show like what the criteria was. And what
Okay.
I mean by that is like whether it's a checklist the students can see and they're like checking off the different skills that
This
they're using.
this is what I gave them at the
That
towards
oh
the end.
see that makes it a four right there. I didn't know
Okay.
that they had that. Okay, so I'm actually gonna change that
Okay.
to a four. So that right there is that's exactly what they're looking for. Because when
Yeah,
you
this
get
one said
observed,
I work with my partner. I use my dominant hand to hold the ball. I use my less dominant hand to support the ball.
hmm
When the ball rolled, it did not bounce, and I was able to hit the bowling pin. So it's like yes and no's and notes.
yep, that's a four. I heard you verbally go over those skills, but I didn't know that they had that too.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's perfect. So you got a four actually on formative and summative assessment. So I just changed that. Um, Alignment of assessment with objectives. I gave you a four because you kind of designed the assessment to align with the learning objective, which was to effectively roll. And
Hmm.
you even went beyond that to effectively roll to a partner and to hit a target. So that you actually went on to another objective within DCPS to actually effectively roll and hit a target.
Nice.
So that was awesome. The next one was feedback. I gave you a three
Hmm.
because you provided the students with appropriate and timely feedback on their work. Even in the beginning, when certain students were still, even though you already reminded them, some people were still like passing and the ball was bouncing instead
Hmm.
of not having to bounce. You corrected that. You even went to a group of two boys that were not the first row closest to the camera, but the second row, and you corrected them. Just let them know that you were looking for a ball that wasn't bouncing when rolling to a partner. So I gave you a three on that. Um, the next one was effective use of assessments. Also gave you a three. You use multiple and appropriate types of assessments. With that, you used visual. So you were able to actually walk around to see if they were physically able to do those assessments. And then
Hmm.
you used the written one also. So the students were actually taking ownership of their learning checking off whether their partner was doing those things or not. So that was written and visual because the students were able to physically see whether their partners were doing it. They were able to apply that to themselves, and they were able to write down on paper whether their partner did it or not. So that was awesome. And those checklists are like the easiest thing to do with all skills, just
Right.
to have like a yes or no, and that gives you a paper trail too when you're doing grading.
Okay.
So I think that's an awesome touch. I'm glad you had that because I was gonna suggest that if you didn't already do that. Was that on the video? I didn't see it.
It might not have made it on there because I think we're
Okay.
supposed to do like 15 to 20 minutes, so it might have got cut off.
Got you. Usually the videos you send me are a little over 20, but
Mm-hmm.
that's awesome that it was on there. And the last one was accommodations and assessments. This for a 4, it has candidate regularly and consistently makes appropriate accommodations, and I gave you a 4. You don't have any English language learners or any students with disabilities that I could physically see in that
Mm-hmm.
class, but I still gave you a 4 because it seemed like you were accommodating all students, so they were able to do the lesson, they were able to do the assessment. So that's why we had to kind of tweak it for physical education in that last one because there were really no accommodations that needed to be made aside from the whole group with
Right, and I
that
kind of like
class.
read it to them too. So if anybody had issues
Right,
with reading, I kind of read it out loud and gave them like simple yes or no, and gave them a note section if they wanted to explain further or had any questions.
hmm
But kind of just making sure that they understood what they're doing and then able to fill it out with their partner.
Were you able to look at the papers already? Look through what they had?
I have them. I intended on looking through them this weekend, but that's why I brought them home.
Right.
Um, to my surprise, some of them, were pretty honest. That some of them answered yes and no,
hmm
which is interesting. I think even somebody left me like a little note, so I'm
Right.
still kind of going through those.
Gotcha. I was just interested to see if anybody actually did write anything in the note section. It's always good to leave that there just in
Hmm.
case they had any extra
Oh,
questions.
somebody wrote it was fun. Another person said it was nice. I had fun.
Cool,
So
cool.
that's good to know. Because you always think it's the third graders they don't want to do this. They might think it's boring.
Right,
To know that even with like simple like fundamental things, they still are having fun with like structure activities.
right. You definitely believe me, they want structure. But that just like you said, new school, they're so used to like the helter skelter PE that it's going to take a while. But I definitely can see the growth. Multiple different classes. From the warm up, they loved it. Even using the whistle to run, I thought that was awesome. So how look. But I'll ask you this question when we're offline too.
Okay.
But I'm like, yeah. But great job though. Great
Thank
job.
you. Thank you. I'm gonna go ahead and start this.